So, you think your kung fu is strong? Try my DoomKick style. Hooah!
DoomKick TV Epsiode Tray. In this episode, I sat down with David White, aka Mecha, about his awesome 3D printed robot toys. So let's take a look. Doc Rampaggio here, DoomKick TV, sitting down talking to David White, otherwise known as Mecha.
How you doing?
So, me and Dave are sitting here talking, and the first question I have is, how did you get your start with your freelance art?
Well, I've always liked to draw, and I went to art college, so I knew I was going to be doing something art-related one way or the other.
Yep.
And I actually wanted to be an animator, like a Disney
Yep.
animator, 2D stuff. So I trained in all of that. And as soon as I got out of college, I got a job doing video games, but they were really lame games, like teaching kids how to color,
Yep.
red, blue, purple.
Edutainment.
Edutainment, and I
Yep.
hated it. I wanted explosions, and I
Yep.
was drawing puppy dogs and stuff instead.
Yep.
So my friend and I, who was fresh out of college as well, got this video game magazine. It was like how to get a job in the video game industry, and it had literally dozens and dozens of places, addresses and emails and stuff.
Yep.
And by the way, an email was a pretty new thing
Yep.
back then. That was like 95-ish.
So that was in the early days.
Right, so I didn't have an email.
Yep.
I was like, well, that doesn't do me any good. So he actually took a lot of initiative since he didn't have a job, and he put together 70 resumes and portfolio pictures. 70.
Oh, wow.
And he mailed them out to all these video game places, and he got back 3 responses. He got back like 1 decline, was like no thanks,
Yep.
and then 2 interests.
Yep.
And he took the interest, which I think was at Acclaim in California, and he got another interest from a place in Northampton, Massachusetts called Cyberlore Studios. And
Cyberlore.
I went there. So that's how I got out to this coast. I was living in Ohio at the time.
Yep.
And I worked there for about 9 years, and I swear I'm getting to the freelance part. But the whole time I was at Cyberlore, I was drawing cool stuff, but I was also doing little jobs. So I was doing stuff for gaming books like Feng Shui, I think was one of them, that I
Yep.
did a bunch of stuff for. Sort of like a kung fu film noir mashup. And
So you mean like, when you say gaming, you mean like
I mean
tabletop gaming?
I mean like tabletop books. Like I have a bunch of them over here.
As you can see, there's books upon books upon books behind
Like
us.
these soul Feng Shui books, just black and white stuff.
Seal of the Wheel.
Seal of the Wheel. Crazy names. I don't know where my stuff is in here. But I would draw, Buddhist monks beating up nuns and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty fun stuff.
Yep.
So I was doing that for a long time. And then I got into freelancing with Lego through a friend. So I started doing comics for their magazine, all while I was doing the video game stuff.
Yep.
So that lasted about 9.5 years, and then they went out of business. And my wife didn't want to move because she had a great job,
Yep.
and we liked the area, so I decided to go freelance. And basically I just sort of ramped into it. And it took me a couple of years,
Yep.
of fostering what I already had and searching for new clients and
Yep.
things. And that has
It's
gone
not
on.
an easy field to get into.
It's really brutally hard.
Yep.
And I did great for about 9 years, but now the market's terrible, so
Yep.
I've had a little more free time, to develop my toy stuff,
Yep.
which has been just a huge passion for me since I got my 3D printers.
Yep.
It's, rejuvenating in every way.
Yeah.
It's been
I
fantastic.
mean, even you guys are kind of rejuvenating the toy industry a little bit.
You
because
think?
You're bringing all this stuff that before has been inaccessible
Yeah.
right into people's homes and stuff like that.
It's just so easy to make them.
Yep.
Once I learned how to re-3D model stuff and all the technical ins and outs and,
Yep.
and stuff of the material I was working with, it was like quite a learning curve,
Yeah.
But I'm pretty much over it now, and I know what I'm doing, I think. And I'm probably giving myself cancer with all these fumes and everything.
I mean, I think all of us might be giving ourselves cancer.
Yeah. I wear masks and stuff, but
Yep.
I can only do so much.
Yeah. So, freelance artist, what are some of the stuff you've worked on
Well, like I
that
said,
you're allowed to say? I
well,
don't know if
Lego
there's-
Magazine. Anybody who's had Lego Magazine over like the last 9 to 10 years has seen my art. I did Lego Exo Force comics for that.
Yep.
I did Power Miners, Knights Kingdom. I did Star Wars for 7.5 years.
Yeah, I saw that picture
I
outside
just
your door there.
just got dropped from Star Wars.
Oh, wow.
Basically, well, Disney bought everything,
Yep.
right? And so everything got renegotiated, and they said, from my understanding, what I've been told is that Disney was like, let's start over, let's start from scratch, because Clone Wars is over, and that's kind of what I was doing, was like a Clone Wars thing. So they got somebody new, and I think they're doing it. I don't have a subscription to the magazine anymore, so I don't see. But you know, they don't tell me a whole lot. Yeah. It's a pretty sort of need-to-know basis when you're doing this stuff. But I do still create the comics for Scholastic books, so I'm working on one right now. Wow. I've done a couple. They're like 8x8 readers, you know, and I did a 3D book. Very fun. Yeah. Yeah, so that's mostly what I've done. And also, if you like Hot Wheels books, I've done 22 Hot Wheels readers. Yeah. Wow. What? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And it's been a busy 9 years.
What were some of the like the robot properties you worked on?
Mech Warrior and BattleTech.
Mech Warrior and BattleTech.
Yeah, I got in on BattleTech when I was making video games. Yep. Because Mech Warrior, Mech Warrior. Let's step back. I was always a BattleTech fan. The two aren't necessarily synonymous with each other in their universe. I mean, they overlap a lot, but they're different. So yeah, when Mech Warrior 4 came out, I think maybe back in 2002-ish, I was the art lead on this. On the expansion pack called Black Knight. Yep. And I did all the mecha designs, the new mecha designs, and I did a bunch of texturing and everything. And I had a team of people, so we all worked together. And that was really good. And behind you, there's a case with all kinds of hero clicks.
And
like
we will be running shots of this in, throughout, and all the time.
It'll be like magic.
It will be exactly
magic. I learned in school never tell kids something is magic. Yeah. Like, that's not magic. So
this is magic.
Don't be those kids.
DKTV magic.
You gotta believe. So yeah, they made little miniatures and stuff. So that kind of blew my mind when that happened. And then we got a sequel game called Mech Warrior Mercenaries. And
I remember that game.
Yeah,
well.
I did a lot of work. If you like the way the robots looked or disliked the way the robots looked in that, that's my fault. Yeah, I did the texturing for almost everything. We even had some expansion packs. Yep. And we outsourced everything, but they did such a bad job that I had to redo everything. Oh, yeah, it was typical outsourcing.
Problem with outsourcing.
Yeah, yeah. So that got me in there, and then years later, completely through coincidence, I got into the actual BattleTech art books, like the technical readouts, the TROs and stuff, and I've been creating for those for a few years. Oh, wow. And I also have miniatures based on that stuff, and I love the miniatures.
I love miniatures too.
That was like my impetus for getting the 3D printers.
Yep. Make robot miniatures?
Make robot miniatures.
Alright, actually that's a good time. Let's take a break, and when we come back we'll start talking about the 3D printed robots.
Great.
Alright, we'll be right back.
Is my mega white skin blasting out on your camera?
I think it looks alright. My skin's pretty white too.
Yeah, it's not like you're filming Matt Dowdy, the albino Sasquatch. You're gonna put that in, right?
And we're back.
How you doing?
Talking to David White. We were just talking about his freelance stuff.
I was making fun of Matt Dowdy.
Matt Dowdy.
He'll never know it though.
He may never know. He may know.
He watches all this stuff.
He definitely does. So, let's talk 3D printing. How did you get started doing that?
You can blame Sanjeev, aka Brown Noise, cool dude, and
friend of DoomKick.
Yep, and Ben Minenberg.
Yep.
Minenberg. I call him Miniberg. I don't know if he appreciates that or not.
We call him Dinenberg a lot of times.
Okay.
So.
Okay, we should call
it's all in good fun.
His
though,
brother should be called Miniberg, but whatever.
Miniberg.
They're like Mini-Me. So he goes by Prometheum 5. He also runs a webpage of his own. So those guys, I mean, basically, I met them through the East Coast Shogoken Summit.
Yep.
Which a lot of people don't know about, but it's an annual East Coast sort of robot toy collectors get-together every summer.
And now, is that organized by CDX, or is that...
That started as a Toy Box DX thing,
I
believe. And so Josh from Collection DX is a big part of it, and he hosts it at his place sometimes, but pretty sure it started as a Toy Box DX thing. I got corrected heavily on it once. I was like, ooh, sorry. So I didn't know. But it's great. I mean, it's really great. I just saw
bunch of robot guys.
Yeah, a bunch of guys just getting together. There are a few women that go, so it's not a complete, man thing.
It's not a robot sausage fest.
Robot, not that.
Not that.
But we have a really good time.
Yep.
And I think I've been maybe 5 years.
And that's kind of what spawned Super Robot's Giant Monsters
Yep.
last year too, right?
Yep.
Which hopefully we're going to see that again this year. But
I hope so. I don't know. It's up and down.
Yep.
We don't know. But we all hope it happens. We all want it
Yeah.
to happen. I mean, I was already starting to make stock for it.
That was a great show last year.
We had a really good time. So that was awesome.
So the Robot Summit got you
Right.
introduced to 3D printing?
Right. One day they were talking about what they were doing. And I had seen Ben's stuff.
Yep.
But I hadn't seen it in person. So when I finally got a hold of one of his robots, I was like, wow, this is really nice.
Yeah.
But he was using sandpaper to smooth everything out.
Yep.
And it was literally like 100 hours
Yeah.
to make one figure. So I was just like, no way.
Yeah.
Not going to do that. But then Sanjeev had me over to his place and he showed me some raw prints off his printer. And I thought, you know, this is pretty awesome.
Yep.
And my wife was sitting next to me and I was just kind of like, honey, gonna have to spend some cash, right?
Yep.
So I got one.
Yep.
And then very shortly after that, the whole acetone vapor bath to smooth parts out.
Yep.
That sort of process
Just makes a whole world of difference.
came
on
to
this
life.
device.
Right, right. I mean, it makes it 10 times more deadly to do it, but the toy looks so
The toy
good.
looks 100 times
Right.
better.
And they're very durable after
Yep.
that. It melts all the layers together. So I have a whole setup, which he will show you later. I
Yep, we will.
swear.
We'll see the setup. We'll see the figures. We're gonna see everything.
More
This
magic.
Neo Geo arcade machine
Neo
right next
Geo.
to me. Everything.
Everything, which I wish I had the chance to play with.
Yeah.
But I'm too busy making your toys.
It's a sacrifice you
Slave
gotta make.
drivers, right?
So what was your first toy that you made?
Oh,
Well, the first toy you sold. I
the
should
first,
say.
well, no, the first toy I made, I hadn't 3D modeled in a long time, like
Yep.
7 years. So I had to get back into that. I didn't have any software. I couldn't afford to buy any software, and I don't.
Software is expensive.
Well, I don't pirate stuff.
Nobody should pirate
Well,
stuff.
people are like, you don't what? It's so easy to download. I don't pirate stuff, so I went with what I could get, and I tried out a few things, and I stuck with Blender.
Yep.
Now people are like, ooh, Blender. Yeah, ooh, Blender. I won't bash the guys because Blender is a really powerful tool.
Yep.
And it can do a lot of great stuff, but the interface is not intuitive at all. Like after using it a year and a half, I still have a cheat sheet that I have to look at
Oh,
to
man.
remember how to do stuff. It just doesn't make sense.
Yep.
And I also use Sculptress, which is sort of a,
I've used that a little
yeah,
bit.
it's a gateway drug
Yeah.
to that other thing that I can't think of. But yeah,
What was the other thing?
the other thing.
That you were
That's-
just
that's-
talking about, or?
No, that's like Sculptress.
Oh, what is that?
What is that? I can never remember. Right? It's that other soft body sort of modeling tool. So
We
I
don't
use that. Yeah, you know what we're talking about. I use it to make the faces.
Yep.
And like this little guy here. There's a
Oh, wow.
New York Times bestseller, author and illustrator Tony DiDolisi. It's my bro. He has this character from one of his books called Otto. Basically, this is an evolved tardigrade, those super tiny little
Yep.
creatures that can survive the rigors of space and
Yep.
radiation and stuff. So I modeled this in Sculptress and printed it out for him.
Oh, wow.
Really fun to do. I don't get to do organic stuff, but I used to draw a lot of monsters when I
Yep.
played video games. So people only ever see my robot stuff and they think that's all I can draw, but I can draw pretty much anything.
This is a pretty cool little monster. We'll have to get a shot of it later.
Fun little guy. So these are, yeah, good stuff.
So the first toy.
First toy, right, is this robot called Bounty Hunter. So he's right here. This was the first thing I
Oh,
modeled.
yeah, I remember that from the
Yeah.
class.
And I have one that I painted too. The painted one was actually the first one I made.
Yep.
But this guy, he really shows where I've come from because I didn't use the same joints. I made these custom joints that are hex lock-in joints.
Yep.
You put them in, pop, and it has like 8 directions. But they gut out real
Yeah.
easy and stuff. So I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know about print orientations. The printer prints in layers.
Yep.
And if you know how wood works, wood has a grain. And if
Yeah.
you make a part one way, it'll break real easy.
Mhm.
So that is the same thing. If you make a peg and the grain is wrong, the peg will snap off. So I had to learn all that on
Yep.
there. And there are angles too. If something's at a 30-degree angle on the other side, it'll make support material.
Yep.
And if it's at a 40-degree angle, it won't. So it's easier to clean up and it prints faster.
Yep.
I had to learn all that stuff. And this is sort of the result. So I made a couple of different versions of this, and you can intermix the parts. It comes in.
Yep.
Goes back together. So that was the first thing that I made. And then, shortly after, I made what pretty much everybody knows.
The Mecha.
Mecha.
Yep.
Right, so this is the first one. This guy is loosey-goosey.
Loosey-goosey.
Yep. But it's all there, you know. Check that dude out. He was fun. I think he has the same ratcheted joints. They just really gut it out.
Yep.
And part of the problem was that I was acetoning it and then putting them together right away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like you need to let them sit at least 24 hours.
Yep.
So they get harder after that, and then it's not a problem. But I didn't know. I just had no idea what was going on. Yeah, first one. So, and then I just keep making new Mechanauts.
And we have a selection of the Mechanauts here.
That you can't see, but I can show. So, this was sort of the first. I did a run of those. They're called version 1s.
Yep.
They had different joints. They just had a peg.
Yep.
And I did a run of those in sort of homage colors, the Ferroid and Biotron and stuff from Micronauts. Since, if you don't know, what these started out as was like 50% Micronaut and 50% Diaclone Pilot, the little 1-inch figures with magnets on their feet. You may have seen them. And the original one just started out as, Smash.
Yep.
I was just going to make them for fun. Yep. It's like, hey guys, look what I did. And people liked them.
People loved them because they're cool looking.
They're fun, right? They have that like perfect sort of retro vibe, but still something going on.
Yep.
So I took a risk and I upgraded everything, tried to make it more unique, added some 5mm joints here and there, and developed a new ball joint system. Yep. And made this guy, which is the Soldier.
The Soldier.
So he was my first really mainstream release. I took pre-orders for him, and it started to catch on.
And these guys are super cool. They have little stuff like holsters and shoulder pauldrons and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Pauldron, correct word. And totally accidentally, the shoulder pauldron ended up looking like Antron.
Oh yeah.
Which I was like, who's Antron? Because I didn't know that whole second wave of Micronauts. I didn't have those when I was a kid. But as soon as somebody actually showed me one, I think I saw one at Mason Fitch's place, I couldn't believe that it's exact. Yep. Like right down to the little slot. So sometime I must have seen it, and it must have just got
crept in there.
Yeah, I hate when that happens.
And then came the Biology. Nope.
No. Then came the Predator.
The Predator, yes.
Yeah, which I worked hard to develop. So this one is completely original.
Yep.
And I'm not going to deny that there's some influence from, say, Star Ears in here.
Yep.
Or everything, like the Antron head, it just gets in your brain.
Yeah, it just gets in there,
Gets in there. But I'd like to think that this is an original character.
Yep.
I did a whole lot of sketching. Lots. To get it just right. And this is the prototype, so he has some loose joints. He might be a little wobbly.
Opening jaw.
Yeah. Yeah, they twist. You won't break it. That's the nice thing about my toys. I think that they're solid and they're playable.
Yep, that is what I like about them as well. Yours, Ben's, Sanjeev's, all of them. They look cool. You can move them around and play with them. You don't have to worry about it just snapping off like you do with resin or something.
Right.
This made out of resin would be super floppy.
The floppy thing is
and
the
would
problem.
break, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, why don't you cast them? Well, one, I hate casting. I did it in college. We had classes about it. I've done 5-part molds myself, so I know how to do it. But, man, that stuff is nasty.
Yeah.
It's prone to bubbles.
Yep.
And it breaks, and then the
dirty
parts
and
floppy. Yeah, but just nauseous. The chemicals are awful. Not that this is so bad, but, I like the 3D printing. I can set a job to go, and every 3 or 4 hours I get up and I change out the plate to a new job. And I'm doing illustration in between. So making money while making money.
Making money while making money. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but the 3D printers are actually going right over there as we speak.
18 hours a day.
And we'll get 18 hours a day. Actually, on that note, let's take another quick break, and we'll be right back.
Today's episode of DoomKick TV is brought to you in part by
OK Kupo, the dating site for Moogles by Moogles. If you don't Kupo, you don't Kupo. Kupo, Kupo, Kupo.
Back again. David White, Doc Rampaggio. We are still talking about the 3D printed toys, the Mechanaut, the Predator, all the knots.
The knots.
And when we stopped, we were just finished talking about the Predator, and next up would be the Mechanaut Biologist.
That's right. Why don't you grab it? Go for it.
Mechanaut Biologist.
Now, watch out, that head's going to fall off. So all of these that you see are the prototypes because I don't keep a production model for myself. It just takes so much effort to make another one that I don't. So this guy's...
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, you can see a little
brain cap. And now this guy's really cool too because he has this like the translucent blue.
Yeah, it's a subtle.
Yeah, it's not super clear.
It adds a sort of aquatic, like wet skin look to it, which I really like.
And these are the little. Is this a breather or like a view screen?
It's a. I call it mobile processing lab.
Yep.
So that, he's a bio guy, right? He doesn't really need to breathe so much.
Yeah.
So these canisters on the sides store samples, and he can research them. He's got a graboid here that comes off.
Yep.
So he can hold it in his hand. He has hands that swap out.
Yep. So does the So does the first Mecha, correct?
Right. And like I said before we took the break, I like my stuff to be playable. So I'll take these to my friends' houses with kids or parties, and I'll just say, hey, have at it.
Yep.
And if it breaks, then I know I got to fix it.
Yep.
I got to make it stronger, because there's nothing worse than buying something.
Yeah.
Especially, these aren't cheap.
They are not cheap.
They are not cheap. People, not everybody, but a lot of people are like, oh, why are they so expensive?
Yeah.
Well, because I had to buy a $2,000 printer.
Yep.
$30 full of plastic. I had to spend, a week modeling everything, a week, and then I do tests, and then I spend all that time. It takes about 8 hours, 9 hours to print all the parts.
Yep.
Then I spend a couple of hours by hand cleaning them up.
Cleaning them up.
So they're not expensive.
No.
They're really not. I could charge $100 for these, and still be like, I didn't make that much money on them.
Yep.
So it's just the way things go. When you make things by hand, you go by the market. What will people buy? So I make enough to make it worthwhile.
Yep. That's the key.
Yeah. Plus, I just love doing it. I really, really love doing it. I love seeing people get them and be like, what?
Yeah.
Why didn't I know about this sooner?
Yep.
So.
And I think the neat thing is, as you can see with the guy we'll show you in a little bit, they're basically the same general body with a few differences.
Right.
And that really creates a cohesive world. But at the same time, you're releasing different figures that stand out from one another.
Right.
Like the biologist looks nothing like the original Mecha.
Yeah, we can hold up the biologist here. I'll get this guy.
Oh, that guy, yes.
Yeah, this guy, the new guy, the Frostfire, which
Frostfire.
I just announced 11th hour when I was doing the Predator Terror. I just was sitting around looking out the window thinking, this snow sucks.
Yep.
And then I was thinking about G.I. Joe, how they had characters for each environment.
Yep.
And I thought, well, I need somebody for the snow.
You do. You
And
always need a snow guy.
You need a snow guy, right? And it's Snow Job for G.I. Joe, that was his name, wasn't
Snow
it?
Job, yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes, that was his
Yes, now it's unfortunate. When you're a kid, you're like, okay, that's cool.
Yes, I'm going to be Snow Job.
Now you're like, I'm not going to say that in front of my mom. But, so I came up with this guy, and I thought he had a really cool sort of retro vibe with that just kind of burnt orange, and it worked for me. And I had a bunch of Repro Shogun Warrior missiles. So these are not 3D printed. I got these from Shogun Plastics.
Yep.
And I just threw them on there. It adds that extra level of cool.
Yep.
And he has a backpack that's a little different with some guns on it. But the thing is, the core body, the hips, the thighs, the arms, and the main torso are the exact same as this guy's.
Yep.
He has different lower legs, different feet, and the head is actually the same head but with a visor on there instead of just eyes. But it looks very different.
Yeah, it looks the head looks totally different, even though it's basically the same.
Yeah, and that still comes off too.
Oh wow!
So it's just color makes a big
And
difference.
the chest pieces are different.
Yep.
And it's just the little things really add up to make a whole different figure. And speaking of your pre-order, you just sold out in 12 hours.
12 hours
of the Predator.
The Predator Terror.
Terror.
Now it's PTERROR
Terror.
because of a Pteranodon.
Yep.
Pteranodon.
Pteranodon.
Yeah.
Dinosaur
They're not
names.
the same thing. I
Always
know.
changing.
Bah! So this guy, this is the guy I'm working on.
Did articulated jaw.
He was a challenge to come up with the color scheme.
Yep.
But I actually had made a purple Predator. So imagine this guy, but all the red parts were purple.
Yep.
And I made one of those for my wife because she loves purple.
As DK readers will know, do I.
Yeah. She mandated, you can only make one of these.
Yep.
This is special for me.
Yep.
But everybody online loved the purple guy.
Yep.
Right? So this was my answer to that. And I already had the idea to do the terror head here.
Yep.
But he has a couple of extra jet boosters on the back.
Oh wow. So this guy can fly.
Yeah, oh yeah, that guy can fly. And
He
I
also
gave
has a little gun inside his mouth.
little pinpoint laser, and he has fins on his arms and three claws on his feet.
And
for
again, the
grabbing
core
stuff.
body of this is the same as the Predator. but the little things really go a long way to change it up. This gold with the purple and the black give me a real Constructicon vibe too.
Constructicon?
Or no,
Insecticon.
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 Sorry.
That's right. There's some of these guys up here.
Yep,
These aren't Insecticons. I forget what they are. But
so this third party.
yeah, they're the third party. But man, they're nice toys. They have like a ninja theme. I love it. They're really cool.
And I mean that color scheme always goes good together.
It's classic.
So. And he has different hands
Yeah, he has
too.
3 claws.
3 claws.
The whole raptor look, you know.
Yep. Are his feet different? His feet
Yep.
are different.
His feet have claws on the front and an extra claw on the back.
Wow. See, these things you don't even notice in pictures sometimes.
Right. It's tough. Well, the black doesn't photograph very well either.
Black never photographs
tough.
well.
So this is the tear. Yeah, I do really short runs. This was 18, which is actually longer than my usual 16.
Yep.
The numbers are determined by how many I think I can make in a reasonable amount of time. Because there's nothing worse than doing a pre-order and then 6 months later, you're still like, where's my toy, dude?
Exactly.
Come on.
Just sitting on money and.
Right. So yeah, because I do make people pay in advance.
Yep. Well, I mean, you have to.
I really do have to. That's what it's how I pay my studio rent and everything. So thank you for your support on that. I do mean that. Without everybody supporting me, this wouldn't have gone anywhere.
Yep.
So this is the guy, and I think it's a great fun
That's
toy.
a great looking figure.
So he'll be good.
So the Predators are the mortal enemies of the Mechanauts.
Right. They're actually corrupted.
Corrupted.
Corrupted Mechanauts.
Which brings me to my next point. What is the story of the world of the Mechanauts?
It's so challenging. I have lore built up in my head.
Yep.
I'm working on a comic now. I've done 5 pages. I've illustrated and colored. Like you're the crazy guy. Like you'll see it eventually.
There will be comic at some point.
There will be comic intermittently. I'm not a writer. You know,
Yep.
I'm more of a visual guy. I just sketch drawings, blah blah. You know, whatever comes out, and I refine those. So personalities don't come naturally to me. So it's been a challenge for me to kind of make that up. But I think it makes it more fun to have it, and I want people to have fun with the toys. So I'm doing it.
A good backstory really helps.
Yeah.
But also, it's not necessary at the same time.
So I completely dodged that question. Next.
So
no, I'm just kidding.
Speaking of next, what is next? Is there anything you're working on currently? Frostfire.
Frostfire. I'm working on
at
a
some point?
version 3 Mechanon, since the one with the ball joints is version 2.
Yep.
Yeah. But a version 3 that has a bicep swivel, a ball jointed neck,
Yep.
and just a little more segmented armor so that I can swap out things a little different. So I could literally have different armor sets on top of a skeleton. It's difficult to engineer because the material has a certain resolution because of the printers and strength. And so the more complex I make it, the longer it takes to print and treat and make, and it just doesn't become, possible, viable, I should say. So I'm working on that. Also, I have a Predator dinosaur. I've seen Jurassic Park too many times. That little informational video.
Oh yeah.
Cracks me up. So I have a dinosaur in mind. It'll be a lot of the same parts, like 50% of the same parts. But it'll be definitely more of the raptor kind of body. So that's coming up. I also have. I'm gonna run and get something. No, it's okay. I'll make the camera shake. It'll be cool. It's worth it.
It's not an earthquake going on.
I swear to God. I have a commander unit coming
wow.
up. So this is double size head for the commander unit.
Wow.
But that'll be a green and black kind of thing with some extra wings and some big sort of mantis side arms.
We're gonna have to get close to this at some point.
Yeah, I have some concept art for that too.
Very cool.
But that's the next actual Predator that's coming up. The commander. I'll come up with some kind of name for him. I'll do some scientific research.
That is neat.
It might, people say it looks a little Kamen Rider-ish, or there's some
Well, it's gonna be hard to do.
Waspinator, I think it is.
Waspinator.
People are like, it looks like Waspinator. He's got bug eyes. It's just gonna look like it's just gonna happen.
And I don't even understand how looking like Waspinator is a bad thing.
But I don't know anything about it.
He was a great
It was
character.
Beast Wars, right?
Beast Wars,
yeah. That was when I was in college. I was
Yeah.
like, Transformers are stupid. I just wanted to make art and stuff then. So that's what's next for those guys. Also, every once in a while, I want to show the big guy.
Oh, the big guy.
The big guy. I do these on occasion by commission, but I've only done maybe 4 or 5. So he's a full version 2, but he's double size. And
Double size.
the Baron Karza homage, which is this Micronauts toy right here.
Oh, yep.
The magnet guy. So my buddy wanted this. That was his favorite toy when he was a kid, and he wanted a sword too. But I couldn't make a sword because the print area is 5x5.
Yep.
And I just couldn't make one. So I came up with this axe, which actually opens up into a sword.
Axe sword.
Axe sword. So I think that's really fun. So that'll be coming out with one of the regular size Mechanauts sooner or later. That'll be one of its accessories.
These double sizes are...
They take forever to print, like literally forever, and they're really hard to acetone because the parts
Yep.
are so large. I don't enjoy making them. That's why I charge like $300 for them. Yeah.
That is no joke, but
they're worth
they
everything.
are huge and worth it. So if somebody wanted one of those, they could hit you up.
They could beg.
They could beg on one of your Instagram or your Twitter.
Right. Everything's
your Facebook.
Mechazone, at Mechazone.
Yep.
Twitter, Instagram. I
I
have
will put the links on the bottom of the screen at the end as well.
There's a Mechanauts face page. That's
Face
it.
page.
Facebook page called
Yep.
Mechanauts Universe. Face page.
And then there's also your Mechazone Facebook page.
So yeah, so there's Mechazone,
Yep.
but Mechazone I post some of my robot art, but I haven't
Yep.
been doing a lot of robot art since
Yep.
I've been doing the Mechanauts.
Yep.
But I still post some general stuff there
Yep.
if I see products that I like or toys or new movies, things like that.
And
my-
then Mechanauts Universe is strictly for the
Strictly
Mechanauts
for that.
Universe.
And every once in a while I'll give a shout out to some of my buddies and
Yep.
their toys. But mostly it's Mechanauts. Yep.
Let's take another quick break and we'll be right back. Doc Rampagio, DKTV, back again. David White, aka Mechazone. So we've talked about the Mechanauts, we've talked about the Predanauts. What are some of your favorite robots from history or today? Just favorite robots.
Sure. I've always been a fan of the SDF-1
Yep.
from Macross or Robotech.
Yep.
I have some toys there. Here's a little one right here. That's always sort of been one of my favorites.
Yep.
Just, I don't know why. It's super
Robots.
cool. Doesn't have a personality. I don't tend to put personalities to things.
Yep.
So maybe it's just because I could appreciate the aesthetic of it
Yep.
the most. And these are all anime books up here. These are Roman albums and New Type 100% and art books.
The Robotech, Heavy Metal,
Yeah.
Darksiders.
I've thinned down a little bit too on this stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Used to buy these when I was in college, could barely afford them.
Yep.
Well, that is a good question. I like Samus Aran's armor
Yep.
from Metroid. Always liked that.
Yep. Samus has always had a cool look.
Yeah.
I see here you've got a couple of
I have a
Voltrons,
few Voltrons and other Jumbos.
Shogun Warriors.
Yeah. Some of those I had since I was a kid. Boy.
See Grimlock down here.
I'm just really trying to think. Yeah. Macross was always my favorite. For sure. And I liked Optimus Prime too, but who didn't, right?
Yeah, everyone likes Prime.
Optimus Prime. Really cool. I think it's Hades Project Zero Rhymer, Evangelion stuff. Ah, man.
I
More
see,
Macross. Pacific Rim.
The name is Pacific Rim. I could not think of that for the life of me. Just
Or
then.
Battler Dunbine.
Yep.
You know, things like that.
I noticed there's some Ninja Turtles over there too.
Yeah, I did some Ninja Turtles comic work. Yeah, I wrote and
For
illustrated
the
Tales of
Oh.
the TMNT. Yeah. And I've also done just like some inking and coloring
Yep.
work for the regular book. Those guys are local to here.
Yep.
And so, you know,
Yeah.
we're art buddies, right?
Art buddies.
Art buddies who hang out. But I like Shinji Aramaki.
I don't know if I've heard of
Oh,
him.
Bubblegum Crisis
Oh,
stuff.
Bubblegum Crisis. Yep.
For a lot of that stuff. Well, Masami Obari got in on the directing, but Shinji Aramaki did a lot of that. He also has done just like everything.
Yeah.
Cool. So, but yeah, he's an amazing artist.
So, you know, this whole indie toy scene that's going on now, you got a couple buddies like Sanjeev from Brown Noise and Prometheus Rising Heavy Industries, Ben Minenberg. Is there anyone else doing stuff you want to give shout outs to, or?
On the spot. You know, there are people just starting to get into it.
Yep.
And figure stuff out, but I don't know of anybody off the top of my head that's really making toys.
Yep.
You know, like really doing it.
Well, there's Dowdy, obviously.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking 3D printing.
Oh, 3D, yeah. Beyond 3D printing.
Right. Well,
This
of
is
course.
the whole scope.
Matt from Glyos.
Yep.
Amazing stuff and amazing people.
Yep.
It's really helpful and I think they're enablers.
They
They're
definitely
just like, you can do it, you're awesome,
Yep.
you're great. And you know, after you're done talking to them, you're like, I'm awesome. Right? And then a few hours later, when you look at people's comments and stuff on the internet, you're like,
Yep.
I'm awesome.
Not awesome at all.
I suck. So, they're awesome guys. And, you know, I see other robot themed stuff, like Toyfinity is doing the
The
Max,
RoboForce.
the RoboForce. I don't
Yep.
have it here. There's some at home. I like that stuff because it's more applicable
Yeah.
to robots. And I think the Glyos universe is so wide open.
Yes.
You know, they haven't pigeonholed down
Yep.
too much story. They've done comics, great comics.
Done by Ralph Neese.
Ralph Neese,
a
who Ralph is
phenomenal
awesome.
artist.
He's really awesome. Connected with him on Facebook.
Yep.
Or Face Page.
Face page.
And,
it's a new thing coming
yeah.
at you.
And he's a really friendly guy.
He is. He actually did some art for DoomKick,
Good.
which is going to be seen as a print at some point whenever we get it done.
Right. So, I love that stuff. It's great. And I've done some fan art for a few of the Glass things.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of
Yeah.
those.
Well, I do the month-long events like Inktober,
Yep,
and
Inktober.
March of Robots
Yep.
should be coming up, which is my favorite. Did you see what I did last year?
I did see.
I
you
took
last
all of
year.
the vehicles from
Yep.
Vehicle Voltron here. It's about to fall apart because it's really a weird toy. There's a metal armature inside of there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I did robot forms for each of the individual vehicles.
Oh, wow.
So this year, I don't know. That was really challenging to do.
Yep.
I'm going to put that all together into a PDF eventually and just put it out there.
And speaking of PDFs and stuff, you have a Redbubble store, correct?
I have a Redbubble store.
Where you can
some
get prints
prints
and
and you can get, you know,
Phone cases.
phone cases, pillows, bags. Most of my stuff goes through Store Envy.
Yep. And we'll put links to his store on here.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you guys know this, DK has a Redbubble. Shameless
I
promotion.
didn't know.
I have not promoted it at all.
You know what else I have? I have art books.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's right, he does that. I've seen those actually.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're Mecha Zone. Ooh,
Mecha Zone
you never
1
would guess, right?
and 2.
1 and 2, professionally offset printed, hardcover books.
Made in USA.
Great. Yeah,
I believe you
Texas.
said.
Yeah.
Texas.
And there's tutorials and sketches, and it's a lot of cool stuff. So if you like robots,
Check it out.
of course I recommend them.
And yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of.
I know, I wish I could think of more shout-outs, but when I get on camera, my brain is just like...
If you missed anyone, it's only
I'm
because
really
he hates
sorry.
you. Or he's sorry with it.
Or you're ugly.
Take your pick.
I don't like ugly people.
And
Just kidding.
thank you for coming down or having me come down and talking to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we'll be right back after
Today's
this.
episode of DoomKick TV is brought to you in part by
Papa Petrie's Pizza Palace. Come on down and have a pizza and a soda too. Over 500 locations worldwide.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the 3D printer.
All right, guys, what we have here, standard model Athenia 3D printers. Basically, they're called fused deposition modeling, FDM. They use spools of plastic. In my case, I'm using ABS plastic.
ABS.
ABS, you can do a different kind of plastic that I can't even think of right now. But this is stronger for the bond.
Yep.
And it works with acetone for smoothing. But it is more nauseous. It has a more poisonous kind of vapor, unfortunately. But I just finished off some purple here for the Predator. Been making leg plates, the armor plates that go on the side. And these just, like a really complicated hot glue gun, draw out a layer, raise up, draw out another layer. So layer by layer they create the shape. And you can see here I'm printing out some torsos for the new Predator. And when those are done, they come off and in groups. They have support material on them. So here's a pro tip: I stick them in the fridge for about a half hour, and then this material comes off easier.
That's a good
Yeah,
tip.
I came up with that myself.
It's a David White exclusive.
That's right. So then I organize all the parts into my trays and clean them up with X-Acto knives and picks and stuff to get them just right. So that's my general.
And then they head to the vapor, correct?
Yeah, the vapor over here, 200 milliliter speaker and some acetone. And I use gator clips, and I'll put foil on this and dip parts down in there. Any way I can get down in there. And I wear big respirator and gloves.
Yep.
And I have a cross-flow ventilation going all the time.
And that vapor makes just a world of difference.
Yeah.
When you're pulling, you see a 3D printed piece and it's rough and liney, and then you pull it out of there and it's smooth and glossy.
I love that shine.
That shines great. It looks like you clear coated it when you didn't clear coat it.
Right.
Which is just great.
And you let it rest, for about 24 hours, and it solidifies and gets really hard, so it also increases the strength.
I don't think we talked about this little guy here either.
Oh, the protoform. Yeah, I came up with some lore for each of my Predonauts and Mechanauts where they have a sort of larval form before they turn into the adult. And this is for the Fang, which is the wolf-headed Predator.
Yep.
So this is the protoform. And I'll make protoforms for all of the different ones eventually. It doesn't take too long, but I have a lot of stuff on my plate right now. But he's fun. He's really simple, and I can sell him inexpensively. I actually gave this one away with the biologist pre-order.
I remember that actually, yeah.
Little something extra added.
Here you can see Predator parts.
This is a new. I do these other things we didn't talk about called mini Mecha.
Yep.
So here's a new one, and he turns into like a little tank guy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like I said, he's a prototype, so he's a little loose. His feet keep wanting to fall off, and then the wheels will open up.
Working wheels.
Yeah, working wheels. Nothing too schmancy. But I think he's a cool little guy.
Yeah, it's cool what you can do with just a couple of different colors on a print too.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, really, I think this is store-bought Transformers quality level here.
Yep.
When I get it all finished up, you can put a little coat of acetone on there. That'll be real nice.
And those of you who ordered Predonauts, here's your parts
Some of them
being worked on.
Yeah, all these bags are parts that I've already removed.
There you go.
Yeah. This is the backpack stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah. This is only like half of it here. So it's a lot of stuff. These thighs. A lot of stuff. Takes forever.
And that's just all unassembled too. It's not even. It's a lot of time.
Really?
It's a lot of time into this stuff. Now, young viewer, you will watch